Alrighty, so this message is meant more so for women, but if you're a man and you want to hear more about intuition, um, obviously you can stay and watch if it resonates with you. Obviously, I know that both genders have intuition, but I guess I'm going to speak a little bit more about like women reclaiming their intuition. Um, just because we've lived in a time where we were taught to dismiss our intuition. And when you really think about like back, way back in the day, women were like we were seen as these forces of nature that were able to tap into the unseen and the divine much more than men, because men were supposed to be our protectors of this earth, the protectors of community, right? And again, this doesn't mean that men can't have a relationship with their intuition. Of course they can. I know that, right? But again, like, because I've been on this journey of like really reclaiming my intuition, coming back into my heart, understanding the feminine and masculine polarity, and I'm still learning about it. I'm still understanding it. I'm still grasping it. I'm still integrating it. And I'm just sharing with you guys like what I have learned, and how this is becoming more embodied within me. And again, it's just like I've seen a lot of things online where women have said like, or they're questioning their intuition. I've come across things like this from women of like, oh, should I do X, Y, and Z? But I can feel that, I'm leaning more towards this, right? Or my intuition says this and this about this person that I'm seeing, but I don't know. Should I not? Right? And it's just like, if we can come back to our intuition, it will always guide you the right way, both for men and women. I get it. I know. Um, and it, I get why it can be hard to accept your intuition, to listen to your intuition, because again, we have grown up in a society where they have told us to not listen to it. That listening to your heart, listening to your gut, listening to your intuition is all woo woo. But it's not woo woo. It truly isn't. This society wants people to be so disconnected from themselves, so disconnected from their heart and their innate gifts. Because when you live up in the head a lot, you're much more easier to control and manipulate. And it get like, can we like be honest? Because for me, I know I was getting exhausted living up in my head all the time. Like, it was a tiring thing. And that's what really started to shake me up and wake me up, where I couldn't listen to things outside of me anymore, because it was just, I couldn't take it in. There's so much noise outside that I needed to come back to myself. I needed to come back within and start to reclaim these like abandoned parts of me, which I did start to do. And this is why I'm here, and this is why I'm talking about these things, because I really want people to come back to themselves. And I do feel like it is starting with women. It has always started with women. Women were always more ready to do the inner work, to question the narrative. And again, I men, if you're watching and you're getting triggered by this, by me saying this, like, relax. Because I get that it's not like every man is like completely disconnected. I know, I get it. I have met men that they are on this journey as well. But when we look at the percentages and like the rooms that were filled, it was mostly women. Yes, now they're starting, I feel like they are starting to balance out, but ultimately, and I've made a channeled message about this, women have been leading the way. We have, because that is what is balancing this energy of like the wounded masculine society that we have been living in. Truly, it is wounded masculinity. There's so much healing, there's so many layers to this, and like I even don't know, like it's like I want to go to like all these different places, but again, there's so many layers to this, so we're gonna focus on intuition. So whether you are a man or a woman, but especially if you're a woman, I want you to think about all the times that in the past that you have come across a situation in your life, whether you're deciding on what to do, or you're dating somebody, and then I want you to think about those times where your intuition was like, I don't know if I should be with this person, or I don't know if I should go that way. I want you to think about those times, because I can guarantee that you've had quite a few times where your intuition came in, said something, but you question it with your head and you continued on that path of whatever. And then later down the line, you're like, damn it, damn it. Why didn't I listen to my intuition? Like, I remember this moment where my intuition said, don't date this person, or don't do this thing, or whatever, right? And you were like, damn it, damn it. And I'm sure you guys have had quite a few moments like this. I know I have. Like, when I have reflected back on my life, I'm like, what the heck? I've always had like my intuition come up and say something about something, and I ignored it because I was taught that in this society, to listen to your intuition or your heart is a wrong thing, that you need to listen to your head, that your intellect is better. No, 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 no. I have been coming back into my heart for the last year and a half, and I can tell you it is so much wiser than your brain. So much wiser, especially when you can fuse the two together. Then that's like the real like juice of it all. But the thing is, what I have experienced is coming back into your heart is a direct connection to the divine, to source, to the unknown, to your higher self, whatever you want to call it. It is a direct connection and access to that. And that is way wiser. That has so much wisdom and so much intelligence. Why do you think they want to keep you disconnected from that? You know, you know why. And the best thing that you could do to yourself is to come back to your heart, to listen to your intuition, to develop this connection. This goes for both men and women. The only reason why I was mentioning like women really reclaiming this part of themselves is because the intuition comes from the heart. which is why people will say, like, listen to your heart. That's really your intuition, because the heart is direct access to the divine, to your higher self, to your angels, to your guides, whatever you want to believe in. That is direct access. And women have always had an easier time connecting with their heart than men. And again, I get that there are men out there that can connect to their heart, but let's face it, most men are wounded in this place, which is why they have experienced, like, men are usually the ones that experience heart attacks. Why do you think? Connect the pieces. Like, it's because they're so disconnected from their heart, right? And again, I get it. There's women too. I mean, I've had blockages around my heart, but when we compare the two, men are usually way more disconnected from their hearts. They've been taught from a very young age to completely, like, just ignore this because it's not masculine, right? That's the only reason why I'm kind of like bringing this up again. Like I said, of course, I know both genders have access to their intuition and to their hearts. I do think that men have to go through a lot more layers and armor to get to their hearts, to really tap into their intuition. And again, it's like a role that you guys naturally came here to play, is to be the protector and the provider, right? So that does put you in a almost a different energy than women, right? Again, women have a womb space. We literally create from the unknown, from the darkness, from the blackness. We have a much easier time connecting to the unknown, right? So I know there's like a lot here and there's so many layers, and it's just because I'm trying to like touch upon anybody that, like, anything that someone might say of like, oh no, that's not true. There's some men, yes, I know. Like, I know. I know. I've been exposed to so many different types of people. I know. But there is still a majority, right? Of like what the genders experience, and their disconnection from certain areas or parts of their bodies, right? um so, ladies, like, just because again I have seen this online of women really questioning their internal guidance system, start leaning into it, start believing it. You don't need external validation. You don't need someone else to say, like, yes, I think you should do this, or no, I think you should do that, or whatever. You don't need anybody else's opinion. You yourself know, and you yourself can feel what your intuition is telling you to do. And yes, I get that sometimes your intuition will tell you to do something that isn't comfortable, that makes you question, like, the outcome of it, because it feels like there's more risk involved. But the more you start following your intuition, the more you start developing that connection with yourself, with your heart, with this like higher version of yourself, you'll start trusting it more, and it will become easier for you to like make these decisions that are very heart based, right? But again, it does start with you taking the leap. And like for me, it was just like I had enough, because I've had so many examples throughout my life where my intuition was like, hey, it said something, right? It told me to do something, and I went against it. And when I think back on it, I'm pretty sure I was supposed to do that to learn, to understand of like, how many times am I gonna keep ignoring my intuition? Like, how many times is this going to keep happening when all I've seen in the past is every single time I've went against my intuition, I would reflect back on that moment when my intuition told me to do something else and yet I didn't. I would look back and be like, I knew it. I knew it. Like, my intuition told me not to do this or not to be with this person or whatever, right? And yeah, it came to a moment in my life where I was like, all right, like, I'm connecting the pieces and I've seen from the past like what's not working, so now I need to change it. And yes, I will tell you that it is hard in the beginning. It's really hard in the beginning because first you'll feel like you're crazy. Second, you'll be like, I don't like, okay, so I feel that I need to do X, Y, and Z, but I don't know where this is going to go. I don't like, that's the thing about walking this unknown path, the path of the heart, listening to your intuition, is that in the moment, sometimes it won't make sense. And you're it kind of feels like you are blind, right? Like, making that decision and be like, I'm putting my trust in like the unknown. And that's the thing, like, we're criticized for that, which is why it feels that way, is because it's like other people will ask you, well, why did you make that decision? It makes no sense. What are you basing it off of? Oh, you're basing it off of your heart, off of a feeling. And that's the thing, like, the dismissal of our feelings, of our emotion, of our heart-based emotion has been so belittled that we don't trust it. And I believe that more and more women are starting to understand that, like, wait a minute, my emotion, my sensitivity, my intuition is a superpower. And all this society, in this like wounded masculine era, all they have tried to convince you was not to listen to it because they understand the power of it. And that is what we're reclaiming, ladies. Like, that is exactly what we need to start reclaiming. And again, if you're a man and you're here and you're watching, you have access to this too. Of course, we all do. We're all spiritual beings. And I do believe the roadmap to regain this connection is through the heart. And that is a journey of itself. That is a journey of itself because a lot of us, both men and women, have built walls around our hearts. And yes, men have, I do believe men have way more walls around their heart. And that's a journey to go through. That's definitely a journey to go through because there's a lot of layers you're going to have to unpack and undo and see and sit with. And it's uncomfortable, it's painful. And you're going to have to feel it. You're going to have to alchemize that pain in order to get through it. And but this is a beautiful thing, is that the heart, yes, it was like this closed bud, but then it starts slowly unraveling and opening up its petals, and it just becomes like this beautiful journey. Truly, it becomes such a beautiful and powerful journey back to yourself, back to wholeness, back to your innate gifts. Truly. And yeah, I do want to start like helping people come back to their hearts, to themselves, to their innate gifts, um, which I'll keep you guys up to date once. I don't know whether it'll be like a workshop or a course or something. I don't know, but that's definitely something I am thinking about behind the scenes because I've come from that disconnection. I've lived in that disconnected way, and I was always craving something, and then I finally realized what I was craving, and that was this connection, because it's so beautiful, and it can never leave you once you have it. And so, see, a lot of people think that they're looking for something else, something outside of them, but when really they're looking for what's inside, this connection within themselves. And yeah, once you have it, it becomes your superpower, and it can never lead you astray. And then you'll never look outside of you to for validation. And essentially, you become your own oracle. You become your own oracle, where you're guiding yourself in this life in the most authentic and aligned way. So, yeah, I think I'm going to leave it at that. I really hope that, like, you've come to the realization of, like, yeah, you know what, I'm going to start listening to my intuition, as uncomfortable as it may be in the current moment, but you got to start somewhere. And I really do encourage you to think back on past situations, because we all have them, where our intuition came up and we ignored it, and then we regretted it, of like, and it can save you. It can save you so, like, it can save your life. I've had a situation like that, literally, where maybe I'll share one day, where I was almost in a car crash because I didn't listen to my intuition. And yet, it's funny, because yet after I had another, like, intuitive impulse, not I wouldn't say life or death, but it was still something where I still didn't listen to it. And then I came full circle, and I was like, when am I gonna get it? Like, when am I gonna start? And finally I did, a year and a half ago. I was like, I need to start coming back here. I need to start listening to my intuition and allowing that to lead the way. So yeah. Anyway, I hope that this inspired you. This wasn't like my regular messages, but I think I'm just going with the flow here, trying to find my flow, trying to find also to see like what you guys like, but ultimately this is also me just trusting the divine and my connection with my heart and the divine and what I feel called to express. Alrighty, so I'm going to leave it there. Please let me know how this resonated with you. And, you know, if you're a man and, you know, it inspired something in you, or you want to leave a comment, please feel free. Like, again, I know this includes you, but I'm a female. Like, this is my perspective, my story, and I just want to also help inspire other females as well, and empower them to come back to themselves. Anyway, alrighty, guys, sending you so much love. As always, you can check out my services and offerings and tip jar in the description box below. And yeah, other than that, I will see you on the next video. Bye.